Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King, and today I'm going to be giving you part 5 of What If Naruto Was Neglected with Joker's personality, guys. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and don't forget to go ahead and check out the brand new series over on Anime King 3 of What If Naruto and his clan was betrayed by Konoha. And enjoy that, guys. And yeah, if you're new, yes, I indeed have 3 channels: Anime King, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new, I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So yeah, without wasting any more time, what do you say we leap on into this new episode? Start the intro. So the last spot we left off, it has been a year since Naruto has been locked up. His family has been trying to dispute the claim of him being locked up, as Minato, Kushina, all of them were there, Jiraiya, as they were trying to make a testimony on Naruto's behalf. However, Fukaku claimed that Naruto had gone completely insane in the prison, and Inoichi as well. He had already made 3 prisoners commit suicide, so they could not keep him near any of the prisoners, as they had to lock him up a distance away from them. And they needed the room because the prison was being overcrowded because they were holding up cells. As much as they tried, they could not release him because, well, he was proven to be more of a danger than they thought. So they came up with the idea of placing him in a psychiatrical ward under Inoichi's care, but he would still be a prisoner there, meaning that he wouldn't have the time like the other inmates there. As he agreed to this after a while, Minato had no choice but to announce it, as he was not the head of this because he was too close. Naruto was his son after all. So with that, Fukaku and the others made their way as they got Naruto. As he was in his cell, they chained him up. As they brought him where Inoichi was located, as they placed him inside, placing on a straitjacket over him. The next morning was his first session as Naruto sat down with Inoichi. Inoichi thought that he was the one that had things under control, however, Naruto was able to see through all of that, as he explained in details what Inoichi was trying to do. The man was shocked by Naruto's intellect, unbelievable, that he was able to gather all of that by just a mere glance and assumption. It was truly fascinating to hear what the child had to say, as once again he proved that he was a dangerous person not just physically, but mentally as well. As 4 years passed after that, as Kushina had tried to get him released, however there was no chance of doing so. She asked to see him one time before they condemned him to that life, however Naruto refused. That sent her into a spiral of depression. It took a long while for her to come out of it, but she did. When they found out that Sakura was pregnant with Menma's child, that was a happy event for the family. Hearing that, the mood started to cheer back up. Minato was also suffering on the inside, however he put on a brave face every single time so people did not think that he was suffering. So with that, Naruto was locked away for the past 4 years. As no one had visited or even seen him, it was like he was just gone. Sasuke and Mito started date as well. Minato was getting old as he soon wanted to retire from the position, however, Menma had just joined Anbu. It was not time for him to succeed him yet. As for one Ino Yamanaka, she was becoming a step closer of taking on this field, however, she didn't have any clients yet, as the ones that she got already was so easy. She wanted something more challenging, that's where she found the file. She had heard that Naruto was locked up some time ago. He was the first person that she had a crush on, as he had saved a cat from the tree, her cat, and just placed it back on the ground, and made his way off. From there she saw him as a hero, but she wondered what he was doing here. As her father had worked on this case, the last doctor as well had killed himself. So she would like to take on this challenge to help him, to prove to her father that she can do this. She met up with the pregnant Sakura and Tenten sometime later. As they got to talk, Ino was not with anyone really because, well, every guy thought that she was some precious flower, that she didn't deserve to be in this kind of field. Tenten was now seen Neji. As for Naruto, he was locked away. He didn't know how long he was in here for, but he had lost his mind, however. The last doctor that he tried to get him to free him, the man's mind was too weak, and his manipulation caused the man to kill himself. However, he wanted to get free because he was gonna destroy it all. Not just the village, he was gonna bring people to their breaking point. He was gonna make sure every individual suffer. Not just Konoha, everything, the world, had a bone against him. The world was seeking to make him the monster that he was, and he was tired. So he gave into that role. He would be the monster that the world wanted him to be. When Ino informed her father about this, she was shocked to how resilient the man was being. He was against this 100% as he didn't want her to do it. But a part of her knew that she had to, as the man even cried. He told her not to do this. She just needed to listen not to do this. But she refused, as she was gonna do it. She just needed to. A part of her needed to prove herself that she was good enough to do this job. The man walked away a moment later, as her mother told her to just give him some time. Ino had no idea what she was getting herself into though, as she was going up against the devil himself, thinking that she would be the one to fix his mind. She would be the one to bring him back to reality and make him sane once again. However, how wrong she was, she wouldn't know until it happens. So yeah guys, basically that's what I thought. You guys can switch across the play check of yourself. So let's begin this new episode guys. Sitting at the metal table with a light hanging overhead, Ino straightened out the documents in front of her. She was trying hard to get her breath under control. Her hands refused to stop shaking. She was wearing her lab coat over a purple blouse and a black skirt. Her hair set up in a loose bun on top of her head, her bangs tucked behind her ears. She was waiting for her patient, as she was considering turning back right now. No, she told herself she had to do this, as she whispered words of encouragement to herself, as she went over her game plan for this session. First thing she had to do was understand where he is mentally, what his daily thought process looked like. She had to do so without him getting the upper hand on her. That was something that Ibiki warned her about, saying that he had the possibility to do so. Her heartbeat was fast than it should be, as she continued to straighten the documents on the decks. Every time she heard footsteps, she readied herself, however. They walked past the room. This time, however, she heard the chains jingling, and she knew that it was him. The door opened up as a guard stepped in, nodding towards her. She nodded back as she gulped. There was a lump in her throat as her patient entered the room. She was surprised. She was expecting a blonde, but what she got was a red, shaggy bouncy hair, muzzle secured around his mouth, a straight jacket around him, and shackling on his ankles. His blue eyes were locked onto hers, with a look that she could not really describe. With the mask on, it was hard to tell. The guard that sat him down chained him up there, as he made sure the hooks were secured to the hooks on the ground. Once that was done, he turned to Ino, asked if she needed anything else. When she said no, he unlocked the muzzle, removed it from Naruto's face, as he informed her that they would be outside. Now they were all alone, and she could see his full expression, although she could not exactly tell what it was. It was like a mixture between excitement and hope. He had a grin on his face. His intense stare has not left her since he walked in. Coughing to clear her throat. Hello Naruto, I am Dr. Ino Yamanaka. You remember me, she said, as a smile grew on his face. You have a name tag, he said, as Ino looked down. Oh, of course, she said, realizing that, yeah, he saw the name tag. She coughed in her hand as she grabbed one of the documents off the table. Okay, what we're gonna do, as she avoided his eye contact. You're shaking, he teased as he looked at the paper that was quivering in her hand, as Ino swallowed the lump that formed in her throat. As Naruto was excited because this was his chance. All he had to do was play his cards right, better than he did with Dr. Yeager. By watching her, he could tell that she was completely unqualified. She tucked her hands underneath the table. I will be handling your sessions from now on, she said, and I want to do my best to help you. As he gave her a look like he was judging the sincerity in her statement. I understand a few doctors before me had tried. Oh yes, they have, he said with a nod. So what makes you so different besides your pretty face? As he flashed her a grin. She grinned back as she brushed off the compliment. Well, I don't intend on quitting, she said. Persistence, so that is your angle. Well, I guess they didn't plan on quitting as well. Ino brought a shaky hand up to secure her band behind her ear, as she put it back down. No, she said. I doubt they thought of quitting either. A smile receipt. Do I scare you, Dr. Yamanaka? As Ino was looking over every inch of his face, trying to convince herself before she spoke that he did not. Was it fear that she felt, or was it anxiety? No, she said, as she tried to hold the eye contact. However, her eyes started to twitch, and that told him otherwise. Good, he said with a smile that was brighter than before. I don't want you to be afraid of me. I get enough of that around here. Step 1 of his plan, emotional manipulation. As Ino realized this was a window to pry. So, people are afraid of you, she said. As she already knew, but she wanted to say what was on his mind. As Naruto seemed to zone off a bit, a faraway look in his eyes. They've always been afraid of me, he said. Is there a reason that they should be, Ino asked. As Naruto looked at her curiously, well, I'm a bad person. People are usually afraid of the bad guy. Ino had no words. That was as true as a statement as it could be. People are afraid of the bad guy. From what she read in his documents, he was the worst of the worst. But she had to play her part to gain his trust. I don't think you're a bad guy, she said. As Naruto looked at her, no smile, no emotion whatsoever. He then suddenly chuckled. Yeah, I doubt that, he said. I'm serious, she said. You may have done some horrible things in the past, but that doesn't make you a bad person. Well then tell me, what makes one a bad person? She tucked her hair back. As Naruto noticed her hand was steady. A bad person is someone who... She stopped to think. She had to say something that he hasn't done. She did not know him personally, so she had to guess. Someone who do bad things and don't feel bad after doing those bad things. As Naruto stared at her, he clearly did not agree as he leaned forward, however the chain caught him from going any further. Dr. Yamanaka, you're a shinobi, right? So this is what her father notes meant by his tendency to jump from topic to topic. She nodded her head. If I were to guess your rank, I would say Anvu. She was a bit flattered by that, but she shook her head. No, I only made it to Jonin, she said. As he nodded his head. Well, even so, as a Jonin, I assume that you spent time in the field. As she nodded. And in this time in the field, I'm betting that you've taken more than a few lives, correct? She paused. Yes, I have. So, do you, he asked. She gave him a look as she didn't understand the question. As he repeated himself, do you feel bad about taking those lives? She scratched her eyebrow in thought. Well, no I don't, she said. He gave her a confused look. Then that would make you a bad person then. Ino thought about her answer. Well, no, not necessarily, she said. But you did something bad, and you don't feel bad about it one bit. As he looked at her like she was an unfinished puzzle. Well, those people I killed, they were bad people, she said. Bad how, he asked. She put her bang back, as it fell once more. They would have killed my friend if I didn't stop them, she said. But they were shinobis, right? She nodded. Soldiers, following orders. So are they considered to be a bad person as well? Well, then I got news for you. Tell me, she said. What would you consider to be a bad person? What do I consider to be a bad person, he said. As he leaned back and looked up towards the light. Well, you see, that's a tough one. I personally believe that there are few levels to being a bad person. There is bad, there is corrupt, and then there is evil. These bad individuals would inflict pain upon others and know what they're doing is wrong, right? They will know it is wrong, but they will continue to do so for various reasons. Usually to protect someone or something they care about, or their need to survive. Those are your robbers, your everyday murderers, your shinobis, or whatnot. So you believe shinobis are bad people, she asks. Oh, the worst of the bad. They are someone's evil, which I will get to in a moment. But then there's people that will see an opportunity. They will see opportunity to better themselves, and they would take it regardless, even if it will hurt people around them. They will know that it will hurt someone, but they will do it anyways. Not out of spite for that person, just for the improvement of themselves. People like Orochimaru, for example. Ino is eyebrow at that, so it was revenge on his mind. She didn't know yet, she had to be sure though. Orochimaru is a man that is rotten to the core. He wishes himself better, so he undergoes these crimes. In order to do so, this man has murdered countless women, men, children, all for the sake of gaining more power. That in itself is corruption in its truest meaning. But you wouldn't call that evil, Ino asked him. Oh no, he said. Evil is completely different. You see, an evil individual, while they don't know they're evil, they believe that they're righteous in their actions. So, in theory, an evil individual, when they look at you, they would probably believe that you're the evil one. That is what I meant when I said that Shinobi is somebody evil. Ino wanted to go against his theory, but it was so accurate. It brought a new perspective to her mind about the people that she considered to be bad people. So which one are you, she asked him. As Naruto grinned, well, that is what you're here to find out, right? You're not gonna make it easy for me, she asked, with a grin of her own. I could, he said, but where's the fun in that? Time skip. 3 days later. Ino was in her bed as she thought back to her conversation with Naruto. As she wondered why everything he said made so much sense. It was quite strange to think that she would agree to the philosophy of someone that is locked in a madhouse. It amazed her more than anything else. Amazing in a way that it was the most intellectual conversation she ever had in her life. Of course, she only got really invested in her book smarts over a year ago, but still, never before she had a conversation like that, ever. As she started to question why her father didn't want her to do this. He once told her that one of the reasons why he enjoyed working at the asylum was because of the new viewpoints that he come to hear and understand when talking to the people there, claiming that some of them just saw life in a different way than normal people. Well, now she definitely understood why he said that, because it made so much more sense. Now that she got to speak to someone there. Naruto was like a book written by another scholar from another universe. His strange views, how unique they were, just made you want to listen. She couldn't understand how he was not her father's favorite patient at one point or another. She would ask, but they weren't talking these days. When he came around, she would be sure to question him on what was he and Naruto talking about. Or maybe she got close enough she could ask Naruto to try and figure out what spooked him so much. It couldn't be because of the suicide of Dr. Jaeger where her father gave up. She didn't believe that was the case. She knew that Dr. Jaeger had done it after a few conversations with Naruto. But the man was level-headed, and she doubted that Naruto was the one that was responsible for pushing him over the edge. There had to be something else going on in his life that pushed him to the edge of the abyss. Some people are just great at hiding their true emotions and true feelings. With him being a veteran psychologist, Ino could guess that he was better than most people. She also knew that he was responsible for a few suicides in the prison. However, she had to rationalize it. Those men were in a maximum security prison, possible for life, meaning that they were at the end of the rope already. Listening to the pessimistic views of Naruto, hearing about the things that he talked about, it was probably insufferable to them. Ino looked over towards her clock. It was almost 6 o'clock, meaning she should start getting ready, as Tintin had set her up on a blind date. A guy that was apparently a wealthy merchant, older son or something. Tintin was vague about her description. She really didn't want to go tonight, because she just came back from a mission today, and she had a session with Naruto tomorrow. But Tintin insisted that she needed this, so she figured that she would give the guy a chance. After showering, she picked out a black dress that had one strap on the right shoulder, and a pair of matching heels. As she let her hair down and lowered her bang to cover her right eye, then she waited on her couch. As she waited and waited until 45 minutes later there was a knock. Standing up with a sigh, she made her way towards the door and opened it. A fairly attractive skinned guy stood there. He was trying to look cool. He had shaggy brown hair that was pushed to the side, with a bit of gel holding it back, black eyes that looked over her form with approval, and an unimpressive build that seemed like he hadn't done a single push-up in years. His suit was nice though. She looked at him unimpressed as he pulled the rose from his back. You must be Ino. My name is Hitori, he said. Ino raised her eyebrows and she took the rose. Thanks, she said, as she noticed it was one of the free roses from her mother's shop, for the kids to take for their mother or whatnot. It wasn't even real. I'll just go put this in water real quick. He nodded as she shut the door. She cursed Tintin in her mind as she threw the rose in a trash can a few feet away before she took a breath. As she opened the door once again, stepping out, Hitori was still smiling at her. As he held his arm out, she turned around and locked her door before she grabbed onto his arm, begrudgingly. Time skip. They were inside of the White Dragon, the most expensive place within Konoha, as Hitoru was trying to explain to the waitress that he wanted a wine that they did not have. "I'm sorry, sir. This is our most expensive," the woman said, as she held it out to him. "Are you serious? Wow, I thought Konoha was a bit more classy than this," as he was insulting the waitress and Ino and the village as a whole. As the waitress looked over towards Ino and gave her a look to say, "Are you serious?" As she simply shrugged her shoulders. "Well, you gonna stand there, or are you gonna pour it?" he asked. She just smiled as she poured their glasses. When she walked away, Ino took a sip of the wine. He looked at her with an apologetic look like he expected her to be offended by the taste. "I'm so sorry," he said. "Tenten told me this place was the best." Ino raised her eyebrow. "It's better than anything I ever had," as she took another sip. He chuckled, as if it were a joke. "Are you serious? Oh whoa, that's sad." Ino shrugged her shoulders. "Fine dining isn't a luxury that most Shinobi Village has." "Oh, I beg to differ," he said as he looked down towards the wine. "Kumo has this amazing restaurant called the Mountain Top. And, my god, that place has the best scenery and high-class wine. Not this shit," he said to himself. Ino was beyond annoyed. "That sounds lovely," she said, the fake smile. "Oh, it was. I'll take you someday. Maybe for our honeymoon." He said that chuckle as he looked around for the waitress, missing the death glare that Ino sent his way. "Hello, excuse me," he yelled. "She's helping someone," Ino said. He saw, but yet he was trying to act like he was more important. "Don't worry about it, we're VIP," he said. "Yeah, we like the order," he said as he snapped his finger. Ino was on the verge of kicking the shit out of this prick. Her hunger at the moment outweighed her intentions though. Lucky for him, the waitress came up with a blank expression. "May I take your order?" she said as she pulled out a notepad. "Well, I mean if you're not too busy," he said, as he held up the menu. "I'll have the shrimp platter. Hopefully that is edible," he joked, as Ino pulled up her menu, read the order, rolling her eyes at him, as she ordered a plate of sushi. "Wow, that's impressive," he said, once the waitress was gone. "What? Ordering normally?" she asked. "No, it's not that. Most girls that look like you don't really eat that much." Ino mocked his own smile. "Yeah, impressive," she said. From there, Ino tried to make conversation with him so he didn't patronize anyone any further. This man has to be the most uneducated person she ever met. To make matters worse, he had the audacity to insult her job when she told him that she was a therapist. She was about to slap the shit out of him, however. The waitress returned. "Here you go, sir," she said, handing him his plate of food. He was confused as she handed Ino a to-go box. "I took the liberty of packing your stuff, ma'am," the waitress said with a wink. As Hitoru was confused as Ino got up. "You're a lifesaver," she said, as she pulled out a big tip for the girl. "Thank you so much." As Ino walked around before she whacked him over the head. "Ow!" he yelled. "What was that for, you bitch?" However, she simply walked away. Another hand jerked his hand the other way. "Ow!" As the waitress looked at him. "What the hell is wrong with you? Where's the owner?" he said as he got to his feet, giving her a dead glare, as she was definitely gonna get fired for this. As someone stepped from behind the back and came out. "What is going on out here?" The waitress then proceeded to cry. "Daddy, he hit me," she yelled, as the rather large man turned his gaze towards Hitori. He started to talk to the customers, however, none of them took his side as they made up a story. Saying no, he hit the waitress. All of them saw what kind of ass he was being, the way he was disrespecting everything and everyone. Saying no lousy the place was, how horrible the food tastes, without even taking a single bite, and how horrible the wine was. Ino stood at the door as she was smiling. Before she left, time skip, this was their second session, as Ino watches the guard secure Naruto down before he left. She smiled softly at him. She was still a bit uncomfortable, but at least she wasn't as nervous, as he was smiling at her in a fake expression of surprise. "You came back," he said. "I told you I would," she said. She wondered, did he really think that she would not? "Oh yes, but many people have told me that. I'm sure. But I meant it," as she started to flip through her notepad. "So, what's on the agenda today?" he asked her. Just a few questions. It was time for her to gauge how this psychosis affected him, personally. and physically as well. How are your dreams, she asks. Deep, dark, and viciously intoxicating, he said. Would you care to elaborate, she asks. Well, said Naruto as he glanced up towards the ceiling. There's not much to say. It's pretty self-explanatory. They're darker than most people would prefer. A little more nightmarish, if you could see that. So, nightmare, she asks. As Naruto chuckled a bit. If you prefer that, then I suppose. She jotted a few notes down. Do these nightmares have any theme or pattern? No, I can't say they do, he said, as she writes some more down. Well, do you ever have happy dreams, she asks. As Naruto chuckled. Happy? Dreams? Is that even the actual term, he asks. What, happiness, she said. Well, of course, she said, as he smiled. You seem so sure about that. What is happiness for you then? She placed her notepad down as she tapped her pen on the desk in thought. Happiness is doing the things that you like to do with the people you enjoy being with. I'm not sure I understand that. Do you have any example, he asks. She thought about it. Well, now that she was forced to think about it, she realized nowadays she didn't really do anything that brought her that joy. Ever since she began her psychiatric studies, she pretty much fell off of the social ladder that she was accustomed to when she was younger. That day with the coffee shop with soccer and tenton was the first thing that she'd done in years. But she felt out of place. She felt different because of how shallow the conversation was. After so long of dealing with people that was supposed to dig deep into information that was hard to get, every information that wasn't about things that go beyond seemed rather boring and uninterested to her. She felt lost when talking to them of simple things. Talking of children, relationships, any normal gossip around the village. It was almost sickening that day, but she smiled through it nonetheless. Then that same night at her parents' house, aside from the argument, the conversation was also shallow. Her mother, she understood, would have the mental prowess to dive into deeper conversation, but her father she expected more from. The problem was, he still see her as a child, so he would not have those conversations with her as a practice. Psychiatric study. In her studying, she found out that depth in a conversation, the deepness of it, that is what brought her joy. However, when she returned to her life, she realized how shallow her everyday life was. It was boring. The only time she was getting a fix was right here, with him, as she glanced up towards the redhead, who smiled at her. They only just began their second session, she realized. He was the only person that can bring about that feeling of happiness. As she realized how long it was taking for her to answer his question. Well, like you and I. Our session, she said, truthfully. So, this psychotic battle of two insane minds, he asked with a grin. You think I'm insane, she said. As he smiled, of course. You, Miss Yamanaka, have an amazing mind, and everyone knows that all great minds have a touch of madness. For inspiration. That's nice, she said. Is that original? I wish. No. I read something similar before. Can't remember where, but it's true nonetheless. I suppose it's reasonable, she said. It is. Miss Yamanaka, what would be your idea of a perfect world, he asked. A perfect world, she said. As Naruto nodded. Well, a perfect world is, in my opinion, a world with no war, no fighting, no killing. Just people, good people, I guess. The last time you were here, we spoke about what makes people a bad person, and I believe I gave you a new perspective on it. But I'm curious now, in this perfect world of yours, what makes one a good person? As he put her right in the spot again, she had to think about it. Well, it would be a genuine, good person, she said, giving the most basic answer. Yes, but what would qualify, he asked. I mean, in this world of yours, you said that they would be just good people, as he was mocking her word choice in a way. Yeah, she said, so the people are just good people overall. Well, that's a bit redundant, but let me explain my take on what this so-called perfect world would be actually. You know, I think we're close to it. She raised her eyebrow looking confused. The world right now, she said, as he nodded. It's all about the simple concept of balance. You can't have this without that type of deal. No light without dark, no hot without cold, no good without bad. How would that apply here? Well, think about it. What is a good man if he doesn't have the option to be evil? There's a word for it, he said. without the option to be evil as described in your impeccable world. A good person is just normal. And in a world with so many possibilities, normality is a sin. But normality, as you call it, is also safe, she said. He grinned. In a life so short, safety is nothing but a handicap. A mental blockade that is triggered in the face of danger. A natural fear of death for these civilized people. If you think about it, it's kind of an irony. How so, she said. Well, it's just so ironic that these sane individuals are afraid of death, and yet they live like they're already there. I'm afraid I still don't follow, she said. Well, think about fish in a stream, said Naruto. Only the dead ones go with the flow. In a way, most of the people that you see on the streets, they walk it absent-mindedly, as if they're already dead. So, you don't fear death, she asked him curiously. How could I know? I haven't tried it, he said, as Ino chuckled at his joke. No, doctor, I do not fear death, because death is nothing more than the end to the suffering, honestly. And I honestly welcome it. So you want to die, she asked. No, he said. It's not a matter of being suicidal. It's just a matter of not wanting to live any longer. I know how that sounds, but it's actually something completely different than what you expect. Suicide is described of taking your own life, but that is not what I'm looking to do. However, if death approached me, I will welcome it, but I do not plan to look for it. And why is that, she said. Do you feel non-content with life? You see, doctor, that's a problem. If you simply feel content with life, then you're not living. If all you feel is a mediocre sense of enjoyment with the life that you were given, then you are as good as a dead fish, traveling through the stream. How do you cope with the horrible things that happen in your life, she said. This wasn't a question on the agenda, she just wanted to know, especially in a place like this. As Naruto smiled, the look of awe in her eyes. It was working. Coping is no issue, my mind is constantly changing and turning in the most demented ways that you could even imagine. There are so many voices up here that life and the things that happen are usually slipping my fragile mind. She looked at him with nothing but astonishment. That sounds amazing, she said. It definitely has its upside, he said. As Ino leaned back, although it took her a time to process and understand what he said most time, talking with him was the best conversation with him that she had through her days recently. It was refreshing to talk to someone on your level of thinking, or in this case, someone that far surpassed your own. This whole ordeal was going too smooth for anything that happened with the past doctors to be true. From what she was experiencing, Naruto was nothing more than just a deep thinker. Yes, he had a twisted view on some society and psychopathic tendencies, but he wasn't a dangerous person. Or maybe she just hadn't seen the worst in him yet. She thought to herself. Time skip. 2 months later. I don't know, Menma. It didn't really work out the last time, said Minato, as he was in his Hokage's seat. His son was dressed in normal clothing. Come on, Dad. That was 2 years ago. He argued. I just hate how the family feels incomplete. Minato sighed. Believe me, I get it, he said. But digging all of that up will upset your mother. She just got over the whole ordeal. Then don't tell her. I just want to see him. And I don't know, tell him about my family and all. I will have to talk to his new psychiatric to see how he's been. New psychiatric? I thought he wasn't taking sessions anymore. Well, he wasn't up until some time ago, apparently. Someone took his case. Well, do you know who it is? No. I haven't had a chance to go and check up on things in a while. Last time was about 3 or 4 months ago and he was still in lockdown, so... Well, if you hear anything, just let me know, he said, as he turned to leave. Hey, hang on. About that other thing. Everyone seemed to be on board. Shouldn't take more than another few months. As Menma chuckled at that. Just make sure the paperwork is done by then, old man, he said, as he waved goodbye as he left. Minato chuckled as he returned back to his work. Menma wanted to visit Naruto before his daughter was born, just to speak with him. For what reason he didn't know. But he doubted it would go over well, but for his son's sake he will entertain it for now to see if he could actually let this happen. He signed off another document. There was a knock. Come in, he said, as Inoichi stepped inside. The man looked horrible. Bags under his eyes, his shoulders were hunched down. Minato, hey, he said lowly. Inoichi. Minato said, looking towards the man. You look rough. The man chuckled. There was barely any humor in it though as he sat down. Yeah, he said, as silence settling for a second. So, how can I help you? Inoichi sighed. Well, I have a request to make. As Minato waited for him to spit it out. I just want you to think it over. What is it? Said Minato. As he found a lot harder than it seems. I want you to move Naruto back to the prison. What? Said Minato confused. I want you to move him back to the prison, Inoichi said, repeating himself. Inoichi, you don't even work there anymore. I am aware of that, he said, nodding his head. As Minato couldn't think of a reason why the man wanted to do this. To his knowledge, Inoichi hadn't stepped foot in the asylum in years now. So what was the meaning of this outrageous request? I don't understand, Minato said Inoichi as he looked his way. I have not asked you for much in our long friendship, but now, I am begging you, please, he said. Inoichi, you know I can't do that. If we put Naruto back in the prison, he can't stay at the asylum, Inoichi said. What brought this up? Asked Minato as he looked towards the man. He can't stay there. That was all Inoichi said. Come back in a few days. I'll have Ibiki here to explain his progress. We can make a decision then. Inoichi shook his head once again as he left. Not looking back as Minato was just confused. What brought this on? Meanwhile, he was in his room. As he was reading books, Ino was becoming devoted. From their conversations, he could see how she was changing day by day. It was she that requested that they had longer sessions each day, without him even asking. He technically hadn't asked her anything, she just did it. He told her how boring his days are and how he used to read all the time, so she got him books. He told her how the straitjacket would sometimes hurt his arm. She demanded the guard remove it in place. Simple handcuffs instead. He told her he liked her hair down and she left it that way. It was simple things that made him realize on a level she was willing to do things for him. And the more he pushed, the more he could ask for. Their recent conversations were becoming more and more personal, as she told him these deep conversations were the only thing that she enjoyed anymore. Knowing that he spent the rest of his time planning and waiting, as she was also becoming more cynical in her thinking, a bit more dark in her humor when they joke around. He also noticed how flirty she became when the time allowed it. She always passed it off as a joke. The slight chance that those playful outbursts of flirtiness was real. He would latch onto them as fast as he could to get this moving faster. She was at the edge of the cliff. She just needed a shove. A shove to make her fall in. He had a plan to get out of here, and she played a big role in it. He just had to wait his time. And it wouldn't be too long. Time skip. At the home of soon-to-be parents, Sakura and Menma Namikaze, Ino sat at the table, looking at the group that identify as her friends. It was an impromptu party that Tenten came to retrieve her for this morning. She watched as they talk about random topics, and it was boring her to death. Tenten and Sakura were bragging about their respective husbands. Tenten, hers soon-to-be. It was like they were in competition with each other about who had the most supported man. Ino just sat in her seat drinking a bottle of sake. The conversation with Naruto brought a twist to her life that she never thought that she would see. She was seeing everyone in a different light. They were a lot different than she remembered them being. Maybe it was because her eyes was just open now. The ones that she saw as confident and a little brash was now blind and idiotic. The shy or quiet ones were aware of what life truly is. A bit. Regardless, in their ways of thinking and understanding, they were all foolish. She honestly felt superior to everyone there, even the ones that could kick her ass. In a mental battle before, no one could hold a candle to her, besides Shikamaru. But now it was much more than that. In just 2 months she could feel herself changing. With the help of Naruto, she felt like a completely different person, good or bad. She didn't know yet. As a psychiatrist, she was constantly keeping state of her mental state as well, just out of habit. It was becoming so dark though, and twisted, and she knew that it was. And she knew the exact cause of it. Naruto was the root of her falling, but it was such an intoxicated feeling. It was like falling in love. As she was falling down and down and down. Having to think the same way as Naruto would be such a wonderful thing. Something that she want. If that meant being a psychopath, then she was up for it. Hopefully though it doesn't come to that. As she noticed she was by the table by herself, Sakura and Tenten went to find their significant other. She spotted couples after couples all around the house. They all smiled as they had their conversation mocking her, as she sat alone. Who would she have that with? Everyone that liked her was an idiot or an asshole. Everyone she liked, well, she didn't really like anyone. To rephrase, she didn't really like anyone that was obtainable for her. Ino would not like herself though. Naruto Namikaze had crept his way back in her heart with ease due to their time together. It was like he never left. For the first time in a long while, she felt appreciated, like she was needed. He spoke to her like she understood every word, even when sometimes she did not. He made her feel like she could be more than what she already is. How could she not fall for that? Sadly, that was not the type of crush that she could go around telling people about. She would be taken off the case instantly. Maybe this is what her father was worried about. Maybe he knew of Naruto's charm and took a guess about how it would affect her. It was more like he feared the possibility of her ending up like Dr. Jaeger, as that meant her own father did not believe in her. He thought so little of her abilities, thinking that she would kill herself just because of what a patient said. He never believed in her. Then what good was he as a father? Ino. As she jumped in shock. What? She said in irritation as she looked towards Tenten. Jeez, a bit moody are we? Why are you all alone? Is it bothering you? Well, yeah, a little. Are you mad or something? Why would I be mad? Ino said. Well, because you're all alone over here, and everyone has a man to give them love and attention. Tenten said in a joking manner. However, Ino did not take it that way. As she chuckled. Oh yeah, I totally wish I had a dim-witted guy to make out with. At a party filled with idiots, she said, as her smile was fake. Tenten took that as Ino's version of a joke, so she decided to play along. Are you trying to call us an idiot? No, honey. I did. Tenten couldn't tell if she was joking or not now. It was getting a bit strange. She decided to switch the topic. You're mean, she said, in a playful voice before she asked, what happened with the guy I set you up with? As Ino gave her irritated look before looking away. Tenten was now feeling disrespected. Hello? Am I talking to myself? You might as well be, Ino whispered. She took another sip. Excuse me, said Tenten. Ino downed the rest of the bottle as she turned. Look, Tenten, she said, as she slurred her words together. If I'm going to be honest, I would rather sit here in utter silence and isolation than to listen to your ridiculous rants about how great Neji is in everything that he does. Tenten was outraged. That's not yeah, it is. Ino said, cutting her off as she rolled her eyes. That's all you ever talk about. That's all you and soccer ever talk about. It's the most eventful thing in your sad, dull life. So you bring it up in every situation, every conversation, so that you can feel important for a few minutes every day. Then when you get the attention you crave, you act all bashful and humble, like you don't want all that attention on you. It's really sad, Tenten, and I can guarantee more than a few people have noticed, not just me. So just save yourself some embarrassment and go back over there with your feminine man before he realizes he's gay and leave you. Or worse, he slit his own throat when you realize how bitchy you actually are. As Ino got up as she started to walk away, Tenten sat there waiting for Ino to turn around and start to laugh at that joke. As she realized it was not, so she got angry. Hey, screw you, she said. Ino sighed. She turned to the other girl. You're just a lonely bitch who cannot find a boyfriend. What the hell gave you the right to talk down on anyone? Hey, said Sakura. What's going on? As she heard the commotion. The two ignore her, Tenten. I'm not talking down on you. I'm making an observation. You live your entire life believing in the social standard of social acceptance. As have I. But unlike me standing up, you flew under the radar, not noticing the negative or the positive light. Now that you're older, you're starting to realize the younger years had been a waste. So you're having a sort of midlife crisis that you're searching for any sort of appraisal you can receive from any corner. If that is what makes you feel like you matter, then by all means, do as you must. As Ino was clearly intoxicated to some extent, her eyes were half open. Tenten was steaming mad as Neji got behind her, trying to set her away from this. Screw you, you lonely, psychotic bitch, Tenten said, as Neji dragged her away. As the others, Ino's former teammate had to come and pull her away as well. As she really looked like she wanted to attack her, Ino, Sakura said, What's going on? Ino smiled at her. Oh, nothing, Miss Namikaze. I'm Peaches, she said. Sakura shook her head as she still heard Tenten cursing in the backyard. Menma, Sasuke, and Mito were the only left, sitting on the couch. Why would you say that to Tenten? Sakura asked. Well, I could have lied to her. Fed her with self-confidence, so she can prance around this place like she's the best damn thing on this earth because of the guy that she's with. But there's no healing in that. You gotta break a piece of the wall before you can fix the foundation, Sakura. We got to break walls, she said, in her most doctor tone. Ino, that's your friend. We're your friends. We're not your patients, Sakura said. As Ino started to laugh hysterically, confusing them. Friends? She laughed once again. Are you insane? You got to be insane. Mito got to her feet. Ino, what the hell is wrong with you? She asked. Mito, Ino said. Gosh, how are you even related to him? She said, whispering in a low tone at the last part. Look, I don't know what the hell is wrong with you, but you need to go apologize to Tenten right now, said Mito with a threatening glare. Wow, Ino said. What a world we live in, where we actually have to apologize for speaking the truth. How ridiculous is that? We shouldn't lie to our friends, said Mito. As Ino started to laugh even more, Ino stopped, Sakura said. Oh no, Mito's right. We shouldn't lie to our friends. In fact, we should all apologize for lying to our friends. Mito narrowed her gaze. How about I start with you, Mito, she said. Go ahead and tell Sasuke your dirty little secret. I'm sure he would love to know. The Uchiha perked up at that as he turned his gaze towards her. Stop, Mito said. Oh, but what can a friend lie to another? Especially a boyfriend. What is she talking about? Sasuke said as he got to his feet. As Menma got up, Ino, I think it's time for you to leave. And then the kiss ass, Ino said. But if I leave now, you won't know Sakura's secret. Menma hesitated slightly at that. We don't keep secrets, he said as he walked forward. He basically picked her up as he walked her to the door. Oh? I wouldn't be too sure, Sasuke-kun, she said. Oh, I apologize. I mean, Menma, she said. As she then started to laugh like a drunken psycho, Menma turned his gaze towards Sasuke, not sure what she meant by that. But Choji and Shikamaru came in the room at that moment. They both noticed the silence and tension. God damn it, Ino, Shikamaru said, as he grabbed onto her. What the hell have you done? She simply laughed as they took her away. Him and Choji leaving the house with her, leaving the group in an awkward silence, as Ino did not directly say what she was talking about. However, why did she call Sasuke's name instead of Menma's? Something was wrong that Menma did not know. Something that Sasuke did not seem to know about himself and Mito either. Ino just stirred up so much problems. 2 days later. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you, Ino. Is Naruto new therapist? Your daughter? Said Minato. Minato, Inoichi, and Ibiki was there in the room. Yeah, Minato, I mean no disrespect, but your son is nothing but trouble. Ino cannot handle someone like him. Minato understands the situation now as he was about to say something until Ibiki jumped in. On the contrary, he said, I don't think anyone else can. As he tossed a folder on Minato's desk, Minato opened as he read over it. Within the 2 months under Dr. Yamanaka's care, Naruto has shown great improvement. The guards said that he has shown decreased aggression since being under her care. Removing him from that environment now will only cause him to fall harder in that mental pit that he was in when he just arrived. Inoichi couldn't believe it. That can't be. He thought his daughter would be falling apart by now, going up against someone like Naruto. Read it for yourself, said Minato, as he read over it. But why were there so much? He said, looking up. There was hundreds of reports, but she was only assigned to Naruto 2 months ago. Dr. Yamanaka requested multiple sessions after her second time with him. I guess she saw something inside him that she could help with. Inoichi couldn't believe it. The report got more and more positive with each page that he flipped. No, he said. Minato rubbed his face. Inoichi. No, he said. There has to be something. Some kind of motive. Why he's doing this. There has to be a reason. Inoichi, Ibiki said, that's enough. Look, I get it. You want to protect Ino, but she's not a little girl anymore. She's a capable and frankly, brilliant psychiatric. The asylum is under my command. And as far as I'm concerned, Naruto Namikaze is getting the help that he deserves from one of the best and brightest of my staff. He has not done anything of the late, that would be have grown from my dismissal of him. Inuichi simply shook his head as he looked at documents, like they were not real. Look, Inuichi, I don't know what to say. What is there to say, Inuichi asked, as he tossed documents onto the decks. Sometimes things just don't work out, he said, as he turned to the door to leave. He stopped at the door though. I'm sorry, Minato, he said, as he left. Minato wasn't sure what he meant for that. Maybe it was an apology for wasting his time. I'm sorry for wasting your time, Hokage-sama. I'll try to talk to him, he said. Yeah, I understand. Well, he's just trying to protect his daughter. The both men thought the same thing. Time skip. Laughter. Ino was laughing as both her and Naruto sat in their usual session room, as he chuckled along with her as well. Their latest session was coming to an end. It seems like she just didn't care for the session anymore. She did not write down so much notes. She just enjoyed talking. That's so mean, she said. Well, it made you laugh, didn't it, he said. Yeah, I guess so, she said. She stared at him with stars in her eyes, waiting for him to say something, but all he did was smile back at her. What, she said. Your smile is truly amazing, he said. She bit her lip as she looked down towards the table, blushing a bit. There was a knock, signifying the end of their session. Their smile faded as she gathered the notepads. I guess that's it. I'll be back tomorrow morning, she said. He gave her a smile with a nod. I know, he said, as the guards packed him and brought him out of the room. Ino was happy she couldn't wait for the next day. Meanwhile, Naruto was brought to his room. However, something was wrong as he stepped in. The guard did not shut his door. When he turned though, he saw the door closing. However, someone stepped inside. Inuichi stepped in front of him, as Naruto saw one of his guards laying on the ground, the one that was to shut his door. As he tilted his head, as he wondered what Inuichi was doing, as the man proceeded to pull out a kunai, as Naruto raised the eyebrow at that. But guys, it'll be end subscribe right here. If you want to see the next person do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification as I posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in social media platform, and also stay tuned for the rest of the what ifs coming your way, guys, and I hope you enjoy each and every one of them. So yeah, without further ado, I'm off now. See you guys soon. Peace, guys.